Hello and welcome to InvestorToday.ca. I'm your host, Dave Glover. InvestorToday.ca is brought to you in conjunction with RBL Communications, your online IR specialists. InvestorToday.ca is coming to you live from the Chicago Resource Expo here in Rolling Meadows, Illinois. We are April 27th. It's Friday, and I'm sitting here with Jim Paterson. Jim Paterson, who is the CEO and director of Kivalliq Energy. Kivalliq, which trades on the TSX under the symbol KIV. Jim, nice to meet you.
Dave, thank you for having me.
Yes.
Appreciate the invite.
Usually when we do this interview, I want to start off with an overview, so maybe you can give the viewers a quick overview of Kivalliq, and,
Sure.
and we'll move into the details after that.
Yeah, Kivalliq is a Canadian public company traded on the Venture Exchange. We have a project in northern Canada in the territory of Nunavut. We are uranium explorers, which was challenged last year, but it's been great so far. It ended up really nicely, actually, the year. Got a great management team, board of directors, strong local partners, and an incredible shareholder base.
Well, that's, again, a great beginning. Can we talk to the viewers a little bit about your share structure?
Sure. 149 million shares outstanding. A big plus for our shareholders is knowing that one of the savviest groups in the world for mineral exploration investing, Lumina Capital, is a major shareholder, holding close to 20%. And we have a number of patient, long-term shareholders around the globe that love resources and like what we're doing.
Right. Well, one of the things you said you wanted to talk about was the team. And again, for investors out there, that's one of the key elements, isn't it? You know, having the right management team. Can we talk a little bit about what makes the Kivalliq Energy team an attractive team?
Yeah, I think you have to look at where the project's located and the stage of the project, and you have to look at the management team and say, is this the right profile for a team to get the project where it needs to go to maximize value?
Right.
Be good stewards. And I would say we've got one of the best teams in the business for northern exploration. Mm-hmm. You look at our board of directors, there's a lot of technical talent, capital markets experience, and specifically northern project experience and advancement.
Well, you have a high-quality asset. You said, can we discuss the Kivalliq Lac 50 deposit in Nunavut? Which, you know, for those of you that don't know, Nunavut is as far north as Canada as you're going to get, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. In Canada, we've got 3 territories across the top of the country, effectively, and Nunavut territory is the one that's the furthest east. And so many people that watch your show might recognize the Hudson's Bay. Mm-hmm. So Nunavut, the area that we're in, is just to the west and the north side of Hudson's Bay.
Okay. So again, a great location, and particularly a great location for uranium.
In general, Nunavut is a wonderful place for mineral exploration and mining. It's a very mining-friendly jurisdiction. It's geologically incredibly well endowed, not only uranium, but gold, iron ore, diamonds, and, of course, uranium. And we have a large property position, about 600 square miles or 900 square kilometers, that straddles to sub-basins or sandstone basins. Mm-hmm. Effectively, what we believe, we have a tiger by the tail. We're trying to prove to the world our thesis, which is that we control a new uranium district.
Well, and you know what? I wish you all the success in that.
Thank you.
One of the areas that we can talk about is the Kivalliq property,
yes,
which hosts Lake 50 and boasts several additional high-grade uranium discoveries in 2010 and 2011, and has high-grade polymetallic showings property-wide,
right,
which is very significant.
It is. It is. Initially, when we picked up the property and then took the company public in 2008, we had this large land package that had a lot of historic showings or discoveries from previous operators. We took the whole thing, put it together, and then commenced exploring it. And it's about 40 kilometers by 25 kilometers. There are high-grade uranium showings from one side to the other, high-grade copper, very high-grade silver. One example is 600 ounce to the ton silver grab sample, wow, very high grade, yes, up to 30% U3O8 and some other grab samples. So that's the property picture. We can see that this is a lot of juice. It's a mineralized property, mm-hmm, and we're going about pragmatically trying to target new deposits there. But what we started with was a historic deposit called Lac 50, which you're talking about, and that's a deposit that was discovered back in the late 70s. We went back in and put together a 43-101 report or technical report on it, and then last year we actually doubled the size of the existing resource. And from late 2010 and into 2011, we made 5 significant discoveries, all within a 2-kilometer concentric circle of the main zone of the initial deposit. So very high rate of discovery around the deposit, and lots of discoveries across this big, broad property as well. So we're very excited about both, not only growing the deposit, but just the property-wide potential.
Well, and you mentioned that the property was originally developed in the 70s.
Just explored, yeah.
Explored, rather.
Sure.
Now, I guess modern technology has probably been very significant in helping you move the projects a little further along. I mean, back then, all you could really get was maybe an airborne sample of what's going on underneath the ground. But now it seems to be a lot more technical in terms of what you can discover without having to put a hole in the ground.
Yeah, you still need to drill, and as you know, but I'm not sure if all your viewers know this, but generally geophysics, when you're saying looking under the ground, geophysics is one of the tools that we have in our tool kit. But nothing beats getting guys on the ground, prospecting, trying to identify trends, and then when we have the geophysics in combination with the prospecting and those samples, then we've got to drill. And so our targeting techniques are pretty critical, and so far they've been really effective. So you're going to see something at surface, and then you see at depth with that drill what you've got underneath there.
Right.
So we've been pretty effective. But actually, it's not really technology that gave us the advantage. Back in the 70s, there were 5 or 6 companies all competing and hiding information. They didn't have the regional picture. We're the first company to tie the whole thing up. We took a broader look at the property, and we realized that there are some significant patterns there that no one else had discovered in the past because they were all competing and hiding information. The broader picture is the most exciting part.
Absolutely.
So it's not about technology, but rather the land package is helping us.
And being able to get all of the information into
Correct.
one package, and then being able to disseminate that information and make it valuable.
Correct.
Now, can we talk a little bit about infrastructure, because it is in the far north? Are we talking about road accessibility? Are there road accessibility issues? How does one get to the property?
Well, we actually built an airport there in the last month, but it was on a lake. So we're landing planes on the lake, Dash 7s on the lake, and we'll soon be landing Hercules aircraft right there on a mild strip in front of our camp. The ice is 6 foot thick, so that's a great way to get into the property. And generally in the summer we'll fly in from a town called Baker Lake. There is no infrastructure in terms of roads to our property, but anywhere in the north, if there's a significant mineral deposit, the engineers will find a way to get at it.
Right.
And certainly Agnico Eagle built the Meadowbank mine, and it involved a long road to get to it from the town of Baker Lake, and Kivalliq, which is a mining deposit that Areva is trying to permit right now. That will involve roads as well. So there's lots of infrastructure that needs to go into a mine. The prize has to be big enough.
Well, we talked about shareholders and we talked about key partners, of course, because obviously Lumina Capital is a major partner with the 20% holding.
Yeah.
But working in that region, other than the climate hurdles, and I think you mentioned this a little earlier, was that it was pretty mining friendly. How has it been working with the local Inuit government?
Well, the Inuit are a partner on this, not the territorial government, but rather Nunavut Tungavik Inc., which is a quasi-government. It's a business corporation which is tasked with managing the resources on behalf of the Inuit people. So they're our partner. We're actually operating a tenth of our properties actually on Inuit-owned land, and we think that they are the best partner in terms of local credibility with the communities.
Right.
Obviously, they have a vested interest in making sure that their safety, environmental practices are followed to code, and that's very important to them. But they also carry a lot of weight because it's their land. So if rabble-rousers are coming up that don't know the territory or don't know the ways of the people, they can interact with NTI and the locals, and they'll soon learn that they're a partner on the project.
Right.
So very supportive.
And that's significant with any project, whether you're in Canada or you're in Brazil or you're anywhere in the world. If you've got that relationship, or you've built that relationship with the local governments and even the locals themselves, it can make it a lot easier just to do regular business.
Right. But as I said, in this case, the territorial government is a territorial government, and they're supportive of mining in general. But NTI is actually our business partner in this one.
Well, and again, so now you're working with indigenous peoples within the region, and they're now able to enjoy the benefits too of that type of economic boom, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And they're seeing the benefits, and the benefit to them is greatest when there's actually an operating mine because of the potential royalty stream they'll get. But in the meantime, too, as you explore a property and you're on a property, you make cash payments or annual payments. So there's a revenue stream that is directly beneficial to them whether you're in mining or in exploration.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And of course, for those of you that don't know, in Inuit, in that particular area particularly, they're one of the few governments in Canada in general that actually has a balanced budget.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're in surplus. So as always, I like to give my guests the last word. Is there any last point you'd like to make to the investors that might be watching this, or even shareholders that might be watching this, Jim?
Yeah, I think generally the markets are volatile right now, but I think we have to have some perspective here. You know, in my time in this business, there have been every year or every couple years market crashes that scare the heck out of people. And I was recently over in Asia, and I left Asia feeling totally confident that I'm in the right business. There's the future. They're looking for high quality resources, and they're not worried about grease.
Absolutely.
And so I'm not someone who is going to tell you how many reactors there'll be in 10 years. Let's let the analysts talk about that and argue about that. But I do know it's very hard to find a high quality, high grade economic mineral deposit, and in addition to that, a uranium deposit in a place where the locals will actually let you mine it. So it's a scarcity issue for me.
There you go. Well, there you have it, investors. There you have it. For those of you that are already invested in Kivalliq, it's Kivalliq Energy, which trades on the TSX under the symbol KIV. I've been sitting with Jim Paterson, who is the CEO and director of Kivalliq Energy. Jim, great time, great pleasure to meet you, quite frankly.
Thanks, Dave.
And I want to thank the viewers for tuning in. We'll see you next time here on InvestorToday.ca.